Hello and welcome to the Tolford Alliance Church update for the weekend of February 27th. Programs in the church and in the community are returning. We're expecting a provincial announcement this weekend that will outline the next stage in lifting the pandemic restrictions. We are looking forward to the time when we can sing without masks, when we can hold fellowship events, and when we can have no limitations on how many people can gather in the church building at one time. Now, once mask restrictions are lifted, give space for those who choose to continue to wear a mask to protect themselves or their loved ones who live with greater risk should they become infected. The end of restrictions comes as the pressure on our health system has abated, but it does not mean that the risk is eliminated. Good health practices like staying at home when sick and sanitizing hands frequently are still encouraged. And while we are encouraged at the prospect of the pandemic waning, we see other headlines of concern. So pray for an end to the conflict between Russia and the Ukraine. Pray for wisdom for world leaders as they determine how to respond. Pray also for all affected worldwide by the economic wake of this conflict. As I read the headlines about conflict, I place my hope in God's plan for our world, described by Isaiah. In Isaiah chapter 2, verse 4, it says, "He will judge between the nations and settle disputes for many peoples. They will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation will not take up sword against nation, nor will they train for war anymore." I want to give you an update on some of our programs. First, our Sunday school schedule. We will be having Sunday school this week. There will be a break next week where there will be no Sunday school. And then the next 2 weeks, the 13th and the 20th, there will be Sunday school. We are so glad to have our Sunday school program running again. Our current staffing levels allow us to hold Sunday school for 2 weeks out of every 3. A few more volunteers would allow us to run Sunday school each week. Volunteers for Sunday school serve for 1 week out of 3. Now, if you would be interested in helping in Sunday school, just talk to myself or Kim or Kylie, and we can get you involved. And then if we get a few more people, we'll be able to run Sunday school each week. On Wednesday afternoons at 1:30 p.m., there is a Daniel Bible study, and that's a video series by David and Jeremiah called The Agents of Babylon. Each video is about a half hour long, and sessions are going to be led by Dan Adrian. So you're invited to that. You're invited to bring friends as well. The Esther Bible study, the next session for that is going to be on March 6th. That's for girls grades 9 through 12, and led by Morgan and Pam Sly. And of course, our annual meeting is coming up. It's going to be February 28th, a Monday night, and reports have been completed. They have been distributed. Hopefully you have your hands on one already in either digital or printed form, and that you've read through those. I encourage you to read through them before the meeting, jot down your questions, and we look forward to a good time of discussion on some of the opportunities that are ahead of us. In our service this weekend, we continue in our series called Living Our Belief, Together in Love. You've heard 1 Corinthians 13, or at least part of it, read at weddings. It's become known as the love chapter. 1 Corinthians chapters 12 to 14 remind believers that we are better together. And it addresses many issues that the early church faced as it brought together people of different racial and different social backgrounds. And it brought together people with a wide variety of spiritual gifts. At the center of this discussion is this reminder that love is the most important factor. It is what allows us to be better together. I encourage you to read 1 Corinthians 13 in both a familiar translation and in a translation you don't usually read. You can access other translations through free Bible apps on your mobile device or on any browser at Bible Gateway, and there's a link for that in the email version of this update. That passage says, "And now these 3 remain, faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love." Just a few notes on things coming up. On March 6th, I will be away. Our guest speaker will be Wayne Newmiller, and I know that you will enjoy him. We've had him here once before. March 13th will be a Communion Sunday, and then we're going to resume our Corinthians series on March 20th. So thank you for joining me in this update. Thank you for joining Sundays at 10, whether in person or via live stream, or joining later at your convenience as it lives on YouTube. Take care. God bless.